The protagonist is given a sledgehammer, destroying random office furniture scattered around, which seems to be fleshy beings, when a mysterious news anchor by the name of Shpitz appears, slowly degrading into a horrible state of dying and being overtaken by pulsating lumps, who begs the protagonist to be faster before they spread further. Hi folks, I'm R, your narrator. Welcome to Perfect Vermin, a brilliantly done anti-smoking game which shows the effects of smoking on the body in a body horror manner. As always, if you have any game suggestions or want to discuss theories, follow me on Twitter or Reddit and send me a DM or tag me. Keep in mind that this video will have spoilers. With that said, let's begin. The hero of the story enters an elevator where he arrives at an office floor with no smoking signs found everywhere. He is suddenly given a sledgehammer with no instruction whatsoever on what he needs to do, apart from a counter in the corner indicating that he needs to destroy 5 specific items. As he enters the office floor, destroying as many items as he can find, he finally manages to destroy some items which crumble into messy chunks smeared in blood and biological innards, with the sound of a man being heard moaning in pain. After destroying all the specific items, drenching the sledgehammer in blood, the counter finally goes to 0, with the perspective changing into a windowed screen with a man sitting behind a desk with a sign reading FFI News, indicating that this man is a news anchor. He instructs the protagonist to go back to the elevator and repeat the same task, but this time to do it better and faster. The news anchor seems to be in a poor health condition, with a cigarette ashtray next to him, portraying that he is a smoker. As the protagonist gets to the elevator, a timer appears with the news anchor explaining that these items hide poorly, which coincide with the fleshy office imposters appearing in unusual places. For example, an office chair appearing next to the kitchen counter, and 2 toilets being present in one stall. This time, the ashtray next to the anchor has more cigarette butts, depicting how the anchor has picked up a habit of smoking even more. The news anchor is at first seen to be demanding, as if ordering the protagonist to carry out the tasks, even being snappy. He also mentions symbolic lines of not letting the items to spread and cause more damage, with the building having more chambers in need of cleansing. Going back to the elevator once more, the protagonist arrives at a different level, with the news anchor appearing to be in a much worse condition, with his nose starting to bleed and nails decomposing, being completely black. His ashtray contains more cigarette butts, portraying how he has started to smoke heavily. As the protagonist manages to destroy the items before the timer runs out, the perspective changes to the news anchor, who is covered in pulsating lumps, as if looking to be filled with pus and toxins, consuming this man from inside. The news anchor, once being very demanding and snappy, seems to start breaking down, pleading with the protagonist to be faster and help him with the next floor, which is contaminated, starting to show despair and begging him. The ashtray seemingly more full this time, the protagonist enters the new level, which has more no smoking signs stuck to the wall. The office this time is upside down, as if the fleshy items have caused it to become deformed. The perspective shifting back to the anchor displays what a mess he's become, almost overtaken by the lumps, yet his ashtray seems to get fuller and overfilled with cigarette butts. This time, the office is split into 2 screens, making it more difficult for the protagonist to find all the items in a timely manner. The anchor's health seems to have deteriorated very badly, with the lumps growing on his face while his mouth is covered in blood. Managing to destroy all the items, the protagonist goes back to the elevator to arrive at a new level with no smoking signs covering the entire wall going to the office. This time, the office is tilted sideways, making it impossible for the protagonist to destroy the fleshy items. The anchor, who appears soon after, being a fleshy blob consumed by the lumps, utters his final words, while his ashtray is almost unrecognizable under the remains of smoked cigarettes. The anchor then explains that he always hated his mother, being scared of ever turning into her when he grows up. The funny thing about life, however, seems to be that he not only turned into her, but even died like her. The anchor continues apologizing for being demanding and cruel to the protagonist, giving him an impossible mission for his unfair hopes of survival. As the anchor tries to continue on how it's impossible to destroy the items under the time limit given, coinciding with the office being flipped in an unnatural manner, he suddenly dies, not able to finish his sentence. The perspective then changes into an oncologist's office, who has stuck many images of cancerous tumors growing in different parts of body, especially lungs, with a sign of no smoking stuck just below it. A familiar sign that the protagonist had encountered many times before. It is soon revealed that the anchor is called Mr.Shpitz, who was one day called into an oncologist's office to discuss the test results he had for certain symptoms he was experiencing. The reason for him being called is that he's been diagnosed with terminal cancer, which has spread to vital parts of his organs, having little time left to live. Despite the bad news, Mr.Shpitz seems to be preoccupied with his career on how he needs to report on a massacre that took place recently, clearly portraying how he's been obsessed with his career, not taking care of his own health. The doctor explains how the cancer has spread from his pancreas to his liver, lungs, and even bones, only having 4 to 6 months left to live. When the anchor explains how the news story will be the legacy of his career, something that the people will remember him by, depicting how Mr. Shpitz in his entire life only saw himself as an anchor, nothing more and nothing less. Someone whose only worth depended on his career, which might stem from the abuse he endured from his mother, unable to believe in himself and build a different character who's not defined by his career. The entire game acted as an allegory to his deteriorating health condition, how Mr. Shpitz was dying from cancer. The office items, looking like imposters, were found in unusual places, portraying how they do not belong there and that they are out of order, displaying how they were the cancerous tumors which needed to be removed. Despite the sledgehammer-wielding protagonist who destroyed as many tumors in a strict time limit, seemingly being Mr. Shpitz's immune system or oncologist, the cancer had already spread aggressively into different chambers, or in other words, different parts of body, deforming them, overtaking them, with it being too late to combat this disease. Towards the end, the office space is flipped into an impossible shape, making it unlikely for the protagonist to even reach the places contaminated with cancer. Mr. Shpitz, a snappy and demanding man who ordered the protagonist around, soon becomes a soft and remorseful man, pleading with the protagonist and apologizing to what he had become, knowing full well that it's his last moments. Despite his bad and mean attitude, he seems to have a good heart, hating the fact that he had become like his mother, a mean smoker who only cares about his career. But life has an ironic way of playing the game, making him become a splitting image of his mother. With the wedding ring on his left hand, it's also suggested that Mr. Shpitz had a wife and possible child or children, whom he seemingly didn't attend to much and didn't spend much time with, being obsessed with his career, which made him become the regretful person that he became. Being an insecure child grown into an adult due to the abuse and neglect from his mother, he only saw himself a worthy person by becoming the best news anchor. The sheer weight of stress from work caused him to pick a nasty habit of smoking heavily, as seen from his ashtray getting fuller, which directly caused developing terminal cancer, hence why the no smoking signs keep on appearing in large numbers, displaying how this was the main cause of his cancer. Nonetheless, no amount of regret and hope reverses the impact the smoking and stress had on him, making him accept his doomed fate and short time on Earth, trying to make amends when life leaves his body, making him wish he could only have some more time. And that's it for this video, folks. If you enjoyed it, you can stay tuned for more by hitting on the subscribe button and the notification bell. If you also have any game suggestions, you know how to reach me on Twitter or Reddit. It's been your host, Star. Until the next time, have a fantastic day.